Oh, hello and welcome to a new episode of a podcast. Now I'm blanking on
Decayed
decayed
tapes.
tapes. Jesus Christ, I'm Max Booth, and I am joined by my co-host.
Miguel Myers.
Oh yeah, this is a smooth intro. We've done many podcasts recently, and we will on the whatever you call it, top of the game. Haven't done one in a while. How come, Miguel? What's your excuse?
Depression. How about you?
I'm just cool. I'm not a loser.
Yeah, it's not a loser podcaster.
Yeah, that's right. I have a life.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you watch a lot of SOV movies, you have to kind of take a break. You just have to kind of go into hibernation because you can't watch too many, you know?
That's
You would go
that is
insane.
that is kind of true. We started this because we hadn't seen a lot of the shot on video horror movies, and we wanted to give them a chance. And I've been happy with some of the ones we've watched, but some of the ones have been, you know, not that good. And so they do need a little bit of break in between them. How about like a 6 month break?
They can really drain you. Like the movie we saw today for the podcast is like, I think 72 minutes or something like that. But it feels like half a day it takes to watch it. And I don't know why. It's just something about it is so energy draining. Even like I thought this one was mostly entertaining. Still at the same time, it's like, how long have I been watching this movie?
Yeah, there could probably be you could just watch a supercut of the best images in the movie, and it would probably be 2 minutes long, maybe.
Yeah, well, like a lot of these movies, they seem to have extremely long scenes. A lot of the dialogue is usually improv, I feel like, because they don't have scripts because most of the cast will not like trained actors, so, like they're not going to memorize anything. So a lot of like the shooting the shit type of dialogue in these movies will really much just them fucking around and they never will know when to cut. They just keep going and going and going.
Yeah, listen, I'm not one to shit. Well, I started off shitting on this movie, and it's just they have the spirit. They went out there, they made the movie, they did something that I could never do,
You could do that.
something that I would love
We could
to.
easily do this. What do you, I
Yeah,
mean,
something that I would love to do. Right, but I haven't. I haven't done it. And they did. So I commend them for that. And I'm happy that I've seen it. Um, but yeah, we can get into it a little bit
so
later.
what is it we watched?
So we watched Winterbeast from 1992.
Yeah, 1992, written and directed by Christopher Thies. Not
Ties, I
quite
believe.
sure how you say it. Produced by Milk Frizzell, Flizzell. And I bring his name up because he had a major like contribution to making this movie. He was the one who did all the stop motion. He's the one who kind of partnered up with Christopher Thies about making the movie because Frizzell was employed at like a legit stop motion company. Like they did like commercials for like Nickelodeon and stuff like that. So he had the experience. And then several guy comes up to him like, "Hey, I would love to make a movie. You know how to do this crazy shit. Do you want to like partner up and make like a monster movie?" So they will both like weigh into that. So a lot of the
Okay.
stuff that happens in the movie, like any of the stop motion shit, especially, that was all Frizzell. And at one point, the movie took almost half a decade to make, just because it just kept getting abandoned and various different issues in the production along the line. At one point, it was abandoned, and Frizzell took the movie with him to California because it was shot in like Seminole, New England. It's really much a regional movie. So he took like the unfinished movie to California and decided to just finish it himself. And mostly that involved him making a bunch of unrelated stop motion monstrous scenes and just kind of stitching them throughout the movie.
Okay, that makes sense now.
Yeah, I mean, it was like shot over such a long period of time. You can see that like throughout the movie, people have like different lengths in their mustaches, and like half the time it's really obvious if you're watching a scene, someone is having a conversation with someone who's not even in the same room. And some of the times, the other side of that conversation was probably not even filmed like in the same like 12-month period.
Yeah, and I swear that the same person got killed off like two or three times, or it felt like a fever dream. And towards the end of the movie, I had just had this thought that it felt like they played 52 pickup with the reels and then just put the movie together based on how they picked it up.
Mhm.
Nothing flowed.
No,
Nothing made any sense.
no. What I like about the movie is the practical effects, and mostly that's it, I guess. What about you?
Yeah, it's just the practical effects. And I was reading that some of the practical effects were like taken from a music video.
Oh,
Um, Dokken, and if I'm remembering correctly, Dokken was the band that made the theme song for Nightmare on Elm Street 3 Dream Warriors,
okay.
which is a great fucking song. I thought, but I was reading that the skeleton that rips out of the man's stomach
Yeah,
and then the totem pole monster was taken from a Dokken music video.
interesting. Do you mean that the idea was taken from it? Well, the prop
The
was?
props, the
Well, okay.
props.
Well, I also thought you might have meant like just the the scene itself was just like cut and used.
It very well could have been. Yeah.
Okay, okay. I love the music in the movie. I thought the music was pretty great. It also sounded really familiar, so I'm pretty sure it maybe is a riff off of something else way more famous I've seen. I couldn't place it.
Okay.
Did
Yeah.
did that sound familiar to you at all?
It didn't sound familiar, but it sounded good. Yeah.
Okay. I have a question.
Yeah.
Why is this movie called Winterbeast?
Yeah. I, there's no snow, right?
Was there snow? It takes place in autumn. There's really clearly like a Elvis festival going on in that town. So it
Yeah.
is straight up in autumn. I suggested we do this movie because I thought it was a winter movie, and we were refilming this on December 5th, so it seemed like topical. This is not a winter movie at all. I don't know why it's called Winter Beast. There was a monster called the Winterbeast, but there's no real context given to why it's called that. This is an autumn movie in New England.
Yeah. And I was trying to recall that in the beginning, the ranger said he lost one of his people and they couldn't go out to find him because the weather was so terrible outside.
That's right.
But then the quote unquote next day, there was no snow on the ground. It looked like a fall day.
Yeah. If you recall that big opening scene with the Rangers hanging out, so it's like a window in the background, and like the weather is awful. Like the wind is slamming against the glass. It looks pretty awful. There's just really no like consistency in this movie. They probably shot that scene in the winter and then picked up like 3 months later. It kind of reminds me of like one of the biggest struggles I have with writing. I don't know if anyone else really has this issue, is I'm always forgetting like what month it is when I'm writing something. A lot of the stuff I write usually takes place like on one day, and it'll take me like a long time to write that book. And it'll be one day always I have to focus on, and I'll sometimes forget. And like if it's cold outside in the day that I'm writing it, then they will gonna be cold, despite the fact that it takes place like in July or something. So that's usually something when I go back over the draft, I have to fix a lot. It's just like trying to be consistent with the time and place it's set.
So is that why a lot of your characters have boners all the time?
Yeah, that's right. Uh,
Okay.
I was introduced to this movie through Vinegar Syndrome. They do these like three movie sets called Homegrown Hulu movies, and it's basically just really cheaply made regional movies. I was thinking this was actually shot in video when I suggested it, but it's not. It's a kind of a combo of 8 and 16 millimeter. They kind of switch around throughout the movie. You can tell if you're paying attention to the scenes really much look different throughout. But that's okay. I mean, they still as I think the important thing when you were talking about these types of movies and straight up shot on video is they have that homegrown vibe to it. Like you can tell it's a group of people wanting to make a movie and they had no money, so they just said fuck it and made it. And that's to me is the most important aspect of like picking a movie for this podcast.
Yeah, I agree. It feels, even if it wasn't shot on video like VHS, it still had that feel to it, and that's fine. Um, but so real quick, just so people listening, whatever weirdo is listening to this, what's happening with Winterbeast is people are being killed off near a popular mountain lodge, with the legend claiming that the mountain is haunted by a deadly Native American demonic curse. So it's like Jaws on a mountain, basically.
It definitely has some Jaws stuff going through it,
Yeah.
especially with the male who I think
The
might be doing a John Waddles impression.
I got the same thing. He's like there's the owner of the lodge who doesn't want to shut down but when he should, because people are disappearing. He's doing an impression of, or his character type is that of the mayor from Jaws, filtered through the lens of John Waters or something like that, you know?
It's really entertaining. I
Yeah, he is.
enjoyed
He's the best
every
part,
scene.
especially the whole dance segment
Yeah.
with the
Yeah.
mask. I wish I could like cut that scene out and like play it just without any context for people like at the next movie night or something like that.
I mean, even with the context, is still any difference? There's really no context.
That's true, because I was like, what the fuck is happening? So
We'll get to that scene later, but that's probably the scene we'll talk about the most, I imagine. There's a lot of stuff going on, Phil. There's also, and I hesitate bringing this up because I already know what you're gonna say. There's a lot of Twin Peaks stuff going on in this movie. My comment on Letterboxd was
oh
Twin
man.
Peaks but dumb, and I hesitate saying that because I know your response will be, "Oh, so just Twin Peaks then?"
I had a comment here.
Yeah,
My comment was, this feels like a better Twin Peaks.
I hate you.
And then I said, things just happen, like really big things,
Yeah,
and then nothing co of consequence happens after that.
yeah.
So they'll find something out in the woods. They'll find like this totem pole with like dead things hanging over it, or a monster will attack one of them, and then the next scene, they're back at the lodge like nothing happened.
Why, how come these shot and video movies always begin with a dream sequence? Have you noticed that?
There are a lot of dream sequences in it, and it started immediately.
It surprised me with how quickly it began.
Yeah. But
Um,
inside of a dream sequence or outside of the dream sequence, it was the same vibe the whole time.
yeah, the whole movie could have just been a dream.
Mhm.
It begins. So it took me a moment to realize these were like, what's the profession? Like the ranger of a national forest?
Yeah, park rangers.
How do you get that job? Like any job you
School.
apply.
Gotta
Do
go to
you go
school.
to, you don't go to school, do you?
You have to go to school,
What
yeah.
degree?
Um, Rangernomics, I guess. I don't know, but you're gonna be dealing with Yogi Bear up there. You gotta go to school.
It's like it begins with this Rangel walking up to a different Rangel. He goes, "Hey, are you okay?" And he goes, "Yeah." And then he chills his face, and his face is like extremely fucked up. And then we cut to one of many stop motion monsters just like doing a little dance, kind of taunting the audience. And then someone else, I think everyone in this movie looks the same to me.
Yes.
Someone else has like a like salami on their stomach that's supposed to be guts and they keep eating it. And that's this guy's dream.
Yeah, one of the Rangers is self-cannibalizing. Then there's like stop motion zombie octopus thing, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like the stop motion parts were cool. I like that. I appreciated that. But then yeah, we find out it's just a dream. And I gotta tell you, I don't have very much notes. I don't have a lot of notes on the movie.
Yeah.
Um, it's less than a page, but it's
I have 2.5.
yeah, okay. All right. I'm gonna let you lead then.
Oh, that you didn't have any. I thought you were like, I don't have many notes, but I have a note on
I do
this.
have a note on this. The note was so he wakes up and then he's at the cabin or whatever, their headquarters or whatever, and they're interviewing. So a woman or a ranger is missing, and I believe it's a woman ranger.
Okay.
She's missing. Oh no, somebody found her on top of the mountain, and they're talking about it. They're like, yeah, he's over there and she's over there, but they're close. They're close talkers.
Yeah.
I don't know if that has to do with, is it bad acting, bad direction? Was it budgetary because of the like the film that they were shooting on? Did they have to be that close to each other? I just don't know.
I don't know. How close do you usually get when you talk to somebody?
Nose to
I
nose.
like getting pretty close. I like whispering, like a little mouse. Uh, I lost my train of thought because I feel second. We haven't done this in a long time. I thought, oh wait, I never click recurled, but I did.
And you forgot. Yeah, I get that
Yeah.
all the time too.
I have you ever done that on a podcast? I have. It was fairly
Yes,
embarrassing.
it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. It sucked.
I got like 15 or 20 minutes into an interview with Maggie Seabuilt on the Ghoulish podcast, and she was saying all this great stuff. I was like, "Hey, Maggie, I gotta
Oh,
stop you. Never click record."
man. I did that too, and we got about 20 or 30 minutes in. It was terrible. I don't remember who it was with, but I've also done the thing with a guest where we watched the wrong movie.
Well, that
There
just
was
seems. How does
there
that
was
happen?
there was a remake and an original.
Okay.
And in the conversation, I could see where they thought that it was talking about the original, and but they saw the remake or whatever the case may be.
So in
It
both
was terrible.
cases, did you guys realize, like, as you were talking about it?
Yeah, so like the one where we watched the wrong movie, I you know how I do I start off the interview like talking about them, and then we get into
Yeah.
the movie. So we're
Yeah.
about 20, 30 minutes in, and then I'm like, all right, well, let's get started talking about this movie. And it was The Fly, right?
Hmm.
And I was like, yeah, so The Fly from 1956 or whatever. And they're like, oh, you mean 1986, right? I'm like, no, 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 the original. They're like, oh, I saw the remake. And I was like, what the fuck are you pranking me? But no, so
What's
I
funny
literally
is the
had to
guest
stop.
usually picks the movie. So which one do they mean to pick?
Um, I think they meant to pick the original or the
The remake?
yeah, I think I messed up, but
Sounds like it.
all right, cool, 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 cool. This movie.
So Winterbeast from 1956. Um, so yeah, it's confusing what the situation is exactly. There's a Rangel who's missing, but there's also a woman who's in this station who has been found. So I don't know how she is. Is she also a Rangel? She's just a random lady who showed
Yeah,
up. I
she
don't
was the
know.
ranger that was lost and found. Um,
But then they're
but
out looking for a Rangel. So who's that?
then they go out looking for the spot where he found her.
Oh, for what reason?
Yes, exactly. And then they go out to they make it to the point where they're about to go,
Yeah.
and then we don't go to the spot, and then we're like the next scene they're somewhere else with the same person who was supposed to be up at the spot.
Yeah.
So it didn't make sense. But did you catch the line when they were still in the ranger station? There's that one surly ranger, and he's like
The
really like
the
New
pill
York
field.
attitude. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a pervert. He was looking at the porno mags that were all they had all been tributed.
Yeah.
So
They've all been what?
tributed,
What's that mean?
tribute.
Oh, I see.
Please, yeah,
But explain.
no tribute. When
Is
one
is that a common expression, or are you just making that up right now?
no, it's a common expression.
And it just means to come on something,
On a picture of somebody. Yeah,
like as a tribute.
as a tribute. Yeah,
I'm reading a book right now called The Half Freaks by Nicole Cushing, and this dude in it, he loves to get these nudie mags, and he'll pick one naked lady from the magazine and cut out the photo and tape it to a piece of cardboard. And over a period of like days and weeks, just like pick different spots to tribute on it
yeah,
until the lady is completely gone. It's just come. So is that what you're talking about?
yeah,
Good book. Great
yeah.
book.
There was a fuck. There was a meme like that. I don't know how maybe 10 years ago, but at this point,
Memes that exist 10 years ago.
10 years ago, and it was this dude who had a statue of what are those big titty anime chicks, right? Like
Oh,
the
hentai.
no, hentai is like maybe. Hold on. Like Sailor Moon, like the Sailor Moon where they
Yeah.
like have short shorts and like their hair is flowing and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
but like more voluptuous because I think Sailor Moon's like a teenager. But God, I just want to get done with this story. It
I think it's
was
hentai, buddy.
okay, hentai. He had tributed on that statue to the point where it was all crusted over and you couldn't. It was like a round mound. And then he took a picture of that and
Round mouth.
posted. All right. Okay, moving on. All I wanted to say
A
was,
round mouth. A brown round mouth.
wait, your cup's brown? What?
I drink a lot of coffee.
All right. The lesbian tattoos joke is all I was trying to get to. Do you
Yeah.
remember that?
Um,
It wasn't even worth it at this point.
there's a few funny lines, not funny. Things worth pointing out. One is funny, and that is when there's two Rangers. One's a Pillvilt, one I don't. It's still out. He might be a Pillvilt. Who knows? The guy who's looking at all these nudie mags, he's like, "Hey, look at this. You like that? Yeah, I figured you would." And he just goes back to like all that's missing is that like you fucking pussy is what he should have said. But then yeah, he says like the non-Pillville is like, "Hey, why'd you come to the mountains?" And the Pillville said something about looking for like a he's searching for a disgruntled man. Is what does he say?
I no, I don't recall. It's just something like I
He's
once knew a lesbian who had tattoos.
but what leads to the lesbian thing is
Okay.
he says he was searching for some like man, and the non-Pillville accuses him of being a homosexual. And
Oh,
then the
okay.
Pillville is like, I don't know anything about that, but I once knew a lesbian with a tattoo.
Yeah, that's
And
right.
what's the
And then
tattoo?
why don't you finish it? Because I don't remember.
I don't think we see it.
Hold on a second. He says he's talking to the guy and he says, I once knew a lesbian who had tattoos like you did.
That's it.
You didn't happen to change your name or something like
Yeah,
that. So it's kind of homophobic and all this sort of stuff, but
kind of.
very homophobic. Don't cancel me. All right.
Okay.
At that point, I was just like, the movie has just dropped us in right in the middle of somewhere. And I know, and that's what they say is don't start, in good writing, and they don't start at the beginning, start right before the action starts or right after the action
They
starts.
say begin in a dream sequence that doesn't really impact anything. That's
But
what it
but
says in Lucky, no, in McKee's Strelly. I don't know if you'll avail of that, the great screenwriting book.
Lucky McKee?
It's not Lucky McKee though. That guy's a he makes real movies, but his last name is McKee. I can't think of his real name.
Okay, this is going good. I don't know it.
Save the cat!
All
How to
right,
get a round mound.
good. This is good. Um, so after the whole scene with the porn magazines at the ranger station, we just get this random shot of this redhead lady taking off her shirt, right?
Yes.
We don't get her name or anything like that. She's just taking off her shirt. She's naked. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, we're hearing this loud noise, like very, very Evil Deadish, felt like with the camera moving and stuff like that. And then to looked to me like it was Groot, like the very prototype of Groot. And it's claymation, and he ends up breaking through the window, grabbing her, and once he grabs her, she's also claymation and just dashing her against the side of the house.
It's pretty
That was
great.
cool. I really like that.
When I saw that, I was like, okay, this movie is going to be great. I was wrong, but that scene was pretty awesome.
It was promising.
So, man, this movie is going to suck to talk about. I'm just going to go over some of my notes. And if you have any comments on them, let me know.
Yeah,
So another thing with the whole Twin Peaks shit is they keep talking about an old lodge, and like, yeah, it's called the Wild Goose Lodge. Really Twin Peaksy. Uh, I was like, what is going on? I don't know. I think they came out around the same time. This might predate Twin Peaks since it took so long to make.
yeah.
Twin Peaks was like early 90s, and this came out in 92, but it began getting made in the 80s. I don't know. I think David Lynch ripped off Winterbeast. Have you ever heard of a bait and breakfast place? A place that serves eggs and worms? That sounds disgusting, but is that a thing?
Oh, I've heard of like a bait and breakfast place, but like that's where you jerk off and then get eggs
That's where you get
afterwards.
a round mound.
Yeah. A lot of cum jokes this time. That's all on me. I'll take that. I won't take the cum on me, but Twin Peaks did come
Come
out in 1990.
on me.
Twin Peaks did come out in 1990. Listen, we need to do this more often because we are so
This is
fucking
how
out of it.
every episode goes, and you know it.
Yeah.
There's another scene where they're looking at old nude mags. He says, like, yeah, I found these like in the archives of the station. And he's just flipping through all these nudie mags, like the mangas, by the way, right to left. I don't know if you noticed that. He says, I guess this mountain used to be a pretty swinging place in the 1950s. That's why he gathered from just a pile of like Playboys or whatever was around in the 50s. I know Playboy was around in the 50s because they had Monroe at one point, and that was in the 50s, but yeah. Um, there's some pretty what do I have here? There's a conversation that happens at the Wild Goose Lodge. Don't
Mhm.
recall what that was about. But it is at the top of the mountain. Sorry, my notes are scattered. But something else before we move on is they are these Rangers, in addition to having nudie magazines, they have playing cards of naked ladies. How cool is that?
I used to have a deck of naked lady cards. I don't know what happened to them. I bought them
Did
in
you
Mexico.
play with them?
Hmm? I bought them at the Tanguis in Mexico, which is like the it's like a flea market.
Yeah,
And I was like 16 years old, and I couldn't buy nudie magazines, but I could buy this. And they were definitely, I don't know if I played with them, but they were definitely used.
excellent. I find the idea of those so funny. I don't know why. It's just I don't know.
I find them sad. Sad, very, very sad.
Pretty sad. Do you think like the um the models of those like came in for a job knowing that's what they were going to be used for? Well, it's a case of like, okay, you will pay me this much money for this much of my time, and then you can just use the photos for anything you want.
I
Because
like the
like
idea. I like the idea of some like lady who when she was younger posed nude,
Yeah.
and those pictures could be used for anything, and then like 20 years down the line, no, that's sad. Never mind. I don't
20
like
years
that.
down the line, the nephew buys one of those
A pack of
pens.
nude.
No, a
Oh,
pen that when you go upside down, this grandmother will just fucking nude.
yeah.
Grandma?
Men are terrible.
Yeah.
At the lodge, this is another example of like shit happening and nothing coming from it. The character who in the beginning of the movie rescued the woman ranger, right? He was at the
You could just say
lodge,
Rangel, you know.
right? I'm trying to, yeah, you're right. Rescued the ranger,
The Lady Rangel.
rescued the ranger because I'm trying to differentiate
Oh, I
between him.
know, but I like watching you sweat.
I'm always sweating. I'm fat. Um, the man who the person who oh fuck you, he rescued her, right? He's at the lodge in the beginning, right? Then he's at the lodge and he just starts a fight with somebody.
Yeah. This is this is after they've come in to talk to the male about shutting down the Philly energetic male, and
Yeah.
he says no. And then they
He's
just
not a
kind of
mayor. He's not the mayor. He
he
just owns the
is.
lodge. No, he
He's
just
the
owns the lodge.
I've read like three different pieces that call him a male.
Okay, all right. Well, I didn't
Because
take it as that.
neither did I. So maybe these other things I read were wrong because I also just thought he owned a lodge.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, so after that happens, the fight breaks out, and I thought the guy was going to get arrested and he was going to get quit. Nothing happened. Nothing comes of it. It's like, okay,
What begins this fight is these two guys. I don't know if they'll even range drills. They like we've
mm,
said, they all look alike. They're just sitting at a table and someone said something and they just begin fighting.
yeah.
It's a full-on fucking brawl.
If you're as frustrated as you are hearing us right now, we're as frustrated talking about this goddamn movie.
Yeah. Oh, there's also one of them wins a toastrel at they're doing like a contest to win a toastrel, and one of them wins it. Uh, so that's pretty cool.
That was a fun callback. The New York guy with the attitude, that
Yeah.
Ranger, he ends up winning that. At this point was when, and we're only, I don't know, maybe 20 minutes into the movie at this point. I'm like, what, did a flashback happen? Did I miss something? Because I still thought that they were on the one guy who got into a fight was taking the other Ranger to the spot where he saved the Ranger. I'm like, I was still waiting for that
Never
to circle
happens.
back.
Yeah.
Yeah. At this point, I'm like, okay, I don't know what the fuck's happening here. And then there's also a bunch of really offensive Native American masks on the wall and kind of just littered throughout the movie, like just figurines, really offensive, really racist imagery there
Yeah.
throughout the movie, which
It's
really
one of the
sucked.
laziest like tropes, right? That like you find in Hulu movies made by like white people. It's like, what's the explanation for all this stuff? Well, I don't know, Native American stuff. Who knows? I don't know.
Well, the Native American burial ground that had
Yeah.
been, I mean, that I always thought Stephen King started that with Pet Cemetery. But I don't know of, I'm sure there was some shit before that, but Pet Cemetery came out in the early 80s, I think.
When did Poltergeist come
And
out?
then there was Poltergeist as well. Yeah, I don't know. Oh,
That
Poltergeist
movie,
was
that movie is perfect except for that bit. I love everything about that movie except that little bit.
Poltergeist was 82. Okay, so maybe they started it. And then what did I say? Pet
Pet
Cemetery.
Sematary with an S.
Yeah.
For some reason, he had to misspell it.
1983. So
So around the same time.
around the same time, yeah. But Yeah, so that's what they're kind of doing here. It's not so much Native American cemetery, but just kind of sacred ground sort of thing with the totem pole and demons and stuff like that.
A bunch of these range-rields, they go up to them. Well, it begins with two of them meeting at the breakfast and bait shop. And it's a long, annoying conversation. And one of them is smoking a cigarette and drinking coffee. He keeps like telling the other guy, "Hey, you should go drink some coffee." And like the other guy's like, "No, I've had 3 cups." And that lasts a long time, this conversation. And then they finally go up the mountain. But then there's like 6 of them now. I don't
Yeah,
know where
that's
the
what I'm
rest of
saying.
these
Yeah,
people came from. I don't know who they are. And they all keep looking at something, but unless I missed it, I don't think we ever see what they were looking at. One of the guys keeps going, "I saw this in a dream. I saw this in a dream." I don't know what the fuck they saw. What did I miss?
I think it was just the totem pole,
Okay.
and that's it. But like there was a skeleton on the totem pole that was supposed to be something, but that's it. Yeah.
One
Uh,
funny thing from this scene is the guy who keeps saying he saw this in a dream. He goes up to someone. He's like, "Do you believe me? I don't believe in any of this stuff, but like, do you believe me?" And the person goes, "Yeah, I believe you." And he goes, "You believe me? You must be crazy." And he just walks away.
yeah,
Pretty
that was
cool. Pretty
a
good
good
bit.
bit.
It's a good joke.
Yeah, it's a good job. And then another ranger is just walking out, and a Bigfoot comes out of the ground. Oh, no, it's not a ranger. Sorry, it's a hiker. She's a hiker. She's with another friend, and the Bigfoot comes out of the ground and just kind of drags her away, and that's
Yes,
it.
that was it.
It,
Who is that? I don't know.
it was,
Uh,
yeah,
I have no idea. It's just a thing that happened in this movie. It's around this point that I stopped taking super detailed notes because I gave up a little bit.
yeah, same.
There's a lot of exposition scenes in this movie. I don't know why, because the exposition scenes really make no sense. A lot of them just like talking about like how spooky totem poles can be, I guess. The one line I took was the Indian gateway to hell. Pretty cool line. Should have been the name of the movie, not Winterbeast. Um, then there's someone climbing a mountain, and the monster just kind of rips them like off the side of the mountain and then rips them in half.
Yeah, or snaps the head off, snaps their head off.
That's it.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was cool. That looked cool. I like that.
I also have a note that just says Elliot Smith question mark. There's a guy in this movie that I spill looks just like Elliot Smith. You don't know who that is.
No, I don't know who
You
that
have no
is.
idea.
Is that a famous park ranger?
He's a he's a famous musician from like the 90s, maybe late 80s. It's just a guy with a acoustic guitar. He did a lot of songs like Needle in the Hay. You ever see that movie Royal Tenenbaums?
No.
Ah, all right. Anyway, I dig him. Infamously died by stabbing himself in the chest. But like it was when he was having a fight with his spouse, and supposedly he locked himself in a bathroom and stabbed himself straight in the hilt to commit suicide. Seems a little suspicious. I don't know. I feel like maybe that wasn't a suicide, but I'm
Uh-huh.
not a detective. I wasn't consulted on that case. Anyways, if you Google him, he looks just like the fucking guy to me. So it wasn't
Ye-
him, to the best of my
Yeah.
knowledge.
He did a song called Miss Misery, which was on the Good Will Hunting soundtrack,
Yeah,
and was nominated for Oscar for the Best Original Song in 1987.
it's good stuff, man. If you ever really sad and you want to just like think, what is it like to be a white person who's depressed? You should listen to Elliott Smith.
All right, I'll check him out.
Okay. The Rangers put up a bunch of signs saying, "Hey, this I mean, what do they want exactly? They want something to be closed down. Just the lodge? What is so
Yeah,
special about this lodge?"
I think it's just drawing. drawing traffic there. With more people there, more people are going to get killed. But at the point that they wanted to shut down the lodge, only rangers had been killed.
Yeah.
Um, and then they don't ever say, hey, there's some hikers also missing or some mountain climbers that bodies have been found. So,
I don't know.
yeah, I don't know.
I also don't get like the logistics of this lodge because they say it's like at the top of the mountain and the rest of the town is at the bottom of the mountain. Do they not have like a fucking spot to get drunk in this town beyond driving to the top of a mountain? Why is that the spot?
You've never lived in a small town, have you?
Not with a mountain. Have you?
A mountain town? No. But for Thanksgiving, we drove to Hillary's family's house, and they live out in the country in Wisconsin. And we were leaving, and we had to
Mhm.
drive back home. And their parents wanted to take us to out to breakfast, and we're like, okay, that's fine. We could have gone to a Denny's. There's a Denny's like an highway exit down, but like she's like, no, let's go to this local spot. Like, okay, fine. We go there, and it's a town of like 30 people. And in that town of 30 people, there are three bars.
Yeah.
There's a bar, the bar that we went to, and then two bars across the street, each with their own name and all that sort of stuff. So I don't know what the hell they're doing, but they're drinking.
Right.
So, like you said, there's going to be bars down here also. They don't have to go up there.
I mean, is it just like are they attracted to like the free Toastal giveaways? Is that it? Is that like the big fucking
Do you,
selling point?
you don't remember this because you're a little baby, but
I am.
I feel like in the 80s and 90s, they were always offering you free toasters to open up bank accounts or checkings accounts or savings accounts, something like. Do you remember that at all?
Oh.
All right, moving on. Fuck you.
I mean, no one in my family had a banking account until after I moved out of the house.
All right, there
We
you
just
go.
didn't do banks. I don't know
Yeah,
why. I mean, I know why because they owed money and stuff, and they were avoiding all that. They
yeah.
were massively overdrawn and everything.
Overdraft fees.
I think my mom also like opened a bunch of accounts in my brother's name when he was still a teenager. He had no idea. Completely
Oh, that
fucked.
sucks.
But he ended up being a terrible human anyway. So it's like, yeah, somehow she knew.
She pre-fucked him. That sounds weird. Never mind. Um,
Muzzle prefect son. Silch, silch.
uh, and then okay, another kill that happens is that a mummy comes out from under some leaves
Yeah, a
and
zombie
kills
mummy.
a ranger.
Yeah.
So now Native Americans also have mummies.
She
Uh,
also had a gun, this Rangel. Is that a thing Rangels have? Guns? If so, why?
maybe they have the one gun and they just use it amongst themselves, and that's why the ranger, towards the later part of the movie, didn't have all he had was
A flail gun.
a flare gun. Yeah, it is so
Yeah.
funny. She pulls it out and he just smacks it out of her hand.
What was she doing? She was like just like grieving or something, looking at some old gravestone.
Never mentioned what she was doing there. But
That scene did give me an idea. I meant to Google it, but I forgot. I was going to ask you, is it legal to lie, like to fib on a gravestone? Like if I wanted to say my birth year was like 1602 and then I died in 20 whenever I die, is that allowed for someone just to find me and go, what is this, a Dracula? What's going on? I don't know if that like I'm not gonna go to jail. I'm dead.
I like it. I like the idea.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I don't know what the like the legalities are with gravestones.
Next, the next my next note is that we have the um, owner of the lodge wearing the creepy
Bef
ass mask.
Before we get to
Go
that,
for it.
I
Yeah.
have a great quote from the same guy, the guy who owns a lodge, who might also be the mayor of the town, undetermined at this point. Uh, he's having an argument with the Rangers because the Rangers have put up signs all around town saying, "This place is closed. Do not come up here." And the I'm just gonna call him a male. The male rips all the signs down and confronts the Rangers like, "Hey, you can't do this. This is my. You don't have any jurisdiction to close. This is private property." And the Rangers are like monsters are killing people and Rangers. They separate it. And the male lodge owner guy, he says the best quote of the movie: "There are not any demons in this town except assholes who try to create them." Pretty, pretty good, but also doesn't make any sense once you take in the rest of the movie. And, because as you were saying, we now get to the scene. Well, this guy who owns the lodge, he has this like old nursery children's song playing on his record player. He's dancing and he's looking at this clown mask hanging from the wall. He puts the clown mask on, and then it's revealed all throughout this like lounge that he's in, like a bunch of dead bodies, and it's supposed to be like these little dead bodies from throughout the movie. Um, that he's collected somehow, and he's like just caressing them. I got a bit of Psycho vibes from the way some of those
Yes.
dead
Yeah.
bodies looked.
That's exactly what I had. Yeah.
What were your thoughts about this scene?
This is probably, I gotta tell you, the scenes with this lodge owner are the best scenes in the movie. They're the most interesting. Like I love what he's doing, his whole vibe, his dancing, his energy. Like I don't think he said anything in this part. I know some the Rangers come a little bit later, but in this part right here, he's just dancing around and being creepy and doing a really good job of it. I
Big,
enjoyed this part.
the scene especially, huge Twin Peaks vibes. So I'm glad you liked it.
Sure, sure.
I don't quite remember what happens at the end of this scene. I think he bursts into flames or something.
Yeah, so the two Rangers come and confront him. And there's actually some really interesting lighting in this part of the scene too. It looks like Creepshow, like original OG Creepshow movie. Yeah, exactly like that. So I kind of like that. But yeah, he ends up they confront him. He's like, "Oh, I was actually he was in on it somehow." I like it. He's in on it somehow with the Native American totem. He wasn't shutting down because he wanted these people to be sacrificed or something. But then he just goes up in flames. I think they did a poochie on him,
I
essentially.
read what happened. So they were almost done. They were almost out of like the film that they had in the camera, and the dude, the actor, forgot the rest of his lines, so they just said "fuck it" and just had him burst into flames.
Are you fucking kidding me? Are you
No,
serious?
I'm serious. Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that even
What are
more.
you supposed to do at that point? We're making Winterbeast,
He couldn't consult the script. He's just like, "Hey guys, I forgot my line." They're like, "Fuck it." Well, you just burst into flames.
I guess. Um, then they go decide to cut down the totem pole, right? Like the spooky totem pole, but it goes wrong. And at this point, my notes will be really brief. I have dinosaurs and question milk, sand stunts. It looks like a long chase of these giant dinosaur monsters coming after these guys in sand. And the guys keep like doing these stunts, like jumping off of houses, and oh, it's all cool. What's going on at this point? Any
Uh,
idea?
no idea whatsoever. At one point, a monster comes out of a dude's stomach.
Hmm.
It's like a skull with a spine attached to it.
Yeah,
And once it comes out, the guy falls to the floor. So I thought, oh, was that his spine that came out? That was kind of cool. I like
yeah,
that. But yeah, like you said, I actually got you on the call with me, and I just was pointing it at the TV so you can see that I had like 10 minutes left in the movie, and you're like, there's no more dialogue left in this
yeah.
movie. It was just like a 10-minute scene where park ranger is like shooting flares at this big totem monster that came out because they try to cut
The the Winterbeast.
the Winterbeast, right? And how do we find that out?
Subtitles. The
So
Winterbeast growling. Not once in this movie do they mention the real Winterbeast, do they?
no, no,
Oh.
and it's not winter.
No, it's Autumn. But Autumn Beast doesn't sound so great, to be honest.
It sounds like a person's name. Autumn
Su
Beast.
Summer Beast sounds like a great sausage. Spring
Um,
Beast. It's
and
pretty good.
any other seasons
I
you want
think
to?
I've gone through
I
them
think
all.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's only
Okay.
what, 4 of them? We should add a new season.
What would you call
Um,
it?
I want to say it.
Okay.
There's a scene where the guy who looks like Elliot Smith is running and he trips and there's like a really comical like tumble down a long grassy hill. He's just like bouncing around, going all the way down. It reminded me of Jay Leno. Have you seen this with Jay Leno recently? His injuries.
No,
He
like
got
this is a
fucked
recent
up.
thing.
Yeah, he got fucked up. His eyes all fucked up. He broken bones. He is fucked up,
What was he
man.
falling down?
He says he fell down a hill. Speculation is he owes someone money.
There's no way. That guy's made of money.
He's big into gambling. I don't know.
Okay.
We, the internet speculates this guy is in deep with somebody.
See, you hate Jay Leno, so you love this.
I loved it. I saw this movie, this guy falling. I was like, yeah, it's just like Jay Leno. That guy
You're
we can
like, I
talk
wish he
about
was the
this.
CEO of a healthcare company,
That would be great if we could shoot him in the face.
and I do not agree
In
with
this
the things that.
hypothetical
Yeah,
situation,
okay. In this in a movie that we were making.
in the movie we make.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Um. Yeah, that's the movie. I mean, oh, they end up. He ends up shooting a flare at the totem, which defeats it somehow.
They
Um.
have like a spooky rock. Oh, it's at the top of the totem. I don't know, they find this big stone and they shoot it, and then the Winchell Beast is like, ah! And he like just explodes. And that's the end. I don't know. Throughout this scene, both of the two guys they're talking, like you see the mouths opening, but there's no dialogue. I don't know what happened.
But
Uh,
do you remember the last dialogue we hear in the movie?
please do it.
Next time we're hunting bears?
Yeah, that's it. I didn't know
Ne-
they will honey anything. They'll
y-
angels. That's not their job, is it?
no, that's like I think that's the antithesis opposite. That's the opposite of their
I
job.
wouldn't try saying that either.
Antithesis.
You
There
did
you go.
it. Um,
They're
yeah,
supposed to be stopping people from killing animals like outside of the season or something like that. But
that's
yeah, that's the end
Winterbeast.
of the movie. Oh, and there was a turkey monster. That was kind of cool.
I don't know what they're talking about.
There was a monster that was kind of like a chicken turkey sort of thing. This was before, like before in all the randomness, there was a turkey slash chicken monster that I thought was cool.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the end of Winter
Would
Beast.
you recommend it?
No,
I would, I
I,
think.
I would. Okay, Mystery Science Theater 3000, this bitch with, I don't know, 10 of your stone friends, 5 of your stone friends.
I would have loved to like sit on a couch with you and maybe a few other guys and just like drink something and just watch this.
Yeah,
It would have improved it. Sure. It's not a good movie to watch alone.
yeah. You could even keep the sound off. Like if you're at a party and
Mhm.
just throw this on, one of those things.
I think that's true for a lot of these movies we do. All right. Do you have anything to promote?
Um,
You have a
no, not
comic book
really.
thing coming out soon.
Yeah, so Aztec Death Whistle 1 came out last or earlier this year. You can actually buy it at Ghoulish Books, and also on Ghoulish. It's just ghoulish.com, ghoulishbooks.com.
Ghoulishbooks.com, yeah.
Ghoulish Books.com. Aztec Death Whistle. It's a comic that I wrote. And then part two is being worked on now, and it's going to go up on Kickstarter, hoping March of next year, and hoping to have it printed up for Ghoulish Book Festival in March. Fourth
How
annual?
how is that gonna happen?
What do you mean?
You're gonna do the Kickstarter in Milch and also print it at the same time?
Yeah. So you can do Kickstarter like I want like this is the concept, giving me the money so I can pay for the artist.
Yeah.
I'm doing it where I'm just paying for the artist and
You
it'll
also don't
already
get the
be done.
money for like a month though.
Sure, but I'm gonna print it. I'm just gonna be reimbursing myself basically.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought like
Yeah.
don't rely on that.
No, 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 no. I'm
Not
just
gonna
gonna
get them in
reimburse him.
time. Yeah, Ghoulish Book Fest is coming up in Milch. I think it's the 15th. It's a Friday and a Saturday. You can buy a ticket now, ghoulishbookfest.com. It's in San Antonio. Come say hi. Come buy some spooky books.
It's one of the best times of the year. Like I look forward to it all year. It's so good. It's so much fun.
That makes one of us.